Forest Keeper. The Sigurd's danger level is 50%. As of version 50, it now has 30 HP. If they catch up to you, you will be insta-killed. They are most commonly found on the Moon Vow. The giant has 3 major behavior states: a roaming state, a chasing state, and an on-fire state. When in the roaming state, the giant has a maximum speed of 5. The giant's roaming state is different from most other enemies, because it has a stop and look behavior that occurs every so often. Stop and look lasts for a random time between 3 and 12 seconds. The stop and look will only occur once he has reached a node, after roaming for at least 12 seconds. When stopped, he will turn at a random angle of up to 30 degrees. Every player in the game has a stealth meter that determines when the giant will begin chasing them, and it's determined by a variety of factors. The meter is only affected by you being in the giant's line of sight, which extends 50 meters and 70 degrees. But it will go up faster when you are closer to the giant, or you're not sneaking, or if you've moved recently. The giant's chasing state begins when the threshold of the meter has been met. When chasing, the giant holds its hands out in front of it, and its max speed goes up to 7, which is higher than the player's walking speed, but slower than the sprint speed when you're not carrying heavy items. The giant will constantly log the last seen player position. Once the player breaks line of sight, the giant will begin its investigating behavior, where it will go to the last position it saw the player. Upon arrival, if the giant still does not see the player, it will begin the generic node searching routine again, but with a smaller search width of only 25 meters. The giant will keep its higher speed the entire time. If at any point the player re-enters the line of sight, the chase resumes. The giant will prioritize chasing the player it last chased, unless another player in line of sight gets a high enough stealth meter above them. However, if all nodes in the 25 meter area have been checked without finding a player, the giant will revert back to its original roaming state. If a player gets within the giant's hitbox at any point, regardless of where the giant is looking, the giant will grab and chew up the player, temporarily standing still, and it will then reset its speed back to a max of 5. Before we get into the third and final state in the Forest Giant's AI, I would like to give a huge thank you to this guy right here. The Mater29 from our Discord server spent a lot of time going through the code behind the giant for me, and this video would not have happened without him. The giant will only enter its special third state if lit on fire by an explosion, most likely from an Easter egg or old bird. During this state, the giant gains its highest max speed of 8, and begins roaming as before, but with a search precision of 18 meters. This means the nodes will be checked off way before he actually reaches them, a lot faster than normal, and it will cause him to move more frantically by checking off more nodes faster. The giant will also not do his stop and look around. The giant is programmed to give the player an adrenaline effect as soon as they enter its LOS. The effect will be stronger if the player is within 15 meters of the giant. The player will also get an adrenaline effect that rises over time when the stealth meter threshold is met, and it begins chasing the player. The best method of facing giants is to avoid letting the chase state even start. Avoid line of sight, or crouch if it's unavoidable. However, sometimes it is better to sprint to cover before the threshold is met, if you are exposed for too long. Giants are loud, and can generally be located by sound, so it is typically best to crouch if you're exposed, when you hear, but can't see the giant, due to fog. But sprint when you can see it, if cover is near. Also remember to make your movements depending on the direction the giant is facing, because its LOS is very narrow. Most maps have multiple routes you will want to familiarize yourself with to pivot your route accordingly. Also try to consistently save some stamina, and don't constantly drain it, in case the chase state begins. If the giant begins chasing you and you have some stamina, remember, you can outrun it for a bit if you aren't holding heavy items. Sometimes you can even get around it if you are in a dead end, similar to avoiding bees. The key is that you must quickly break the line of sight while you have stamina, and then keep it broken as the giant searches the 25-meter area around where it last saw you. Sprint to corners immediately, even if it means going backwards. Then find a second corner, as the giant will check the first one where he last saw you. The giant cannot reach you when you're on top of the ship on the opposite side of it, but it will stay aggroed. This will allow you to distract it for your teammates. In a case where you can get under the ship, the situation is similar. You can even kill the giant with a knife from under the ship. That's it for this video. Again, a huge thanks to Mater for helping out with this. I hope you all enjoyed this. Please like and subscribe. And if you want to be a part of our Lethal Company events, they are hosted on our Discord channel, just for you.